welcome to my new series where together we learn how to embroider. Now you might be thinking, wait, aren't you the one that's supposed to be teaching us your vast knowledge of embroidery? Well, I'm actually self-taught and I've only been doing it for a couple of years, so I never really pushed myself to go past the basics. So I thought this would be a great way for us to improve our skills and learn embroidery together. Now, intro aside, we're going to be starting off this series by looking at all the tools you'll need to start embroidering. So there's lots of different kinds of hoops you can use and all different sizes. I usually use the Loops and Threads brand from Michaels. These plastic hoops are nice too. They're a little hard to get on and off, but they can give a really nice decorative edge with a nice hook to hang off of. Some hoops actually come with a rubber protector on the screw, which is great because sometimes the thread can get caught in it and actually rip. Some issues with hoops is that they can come with this blue plastic stuff that's really hard to get off, and even the stickers around the wooden hoop can be a bit of a pain. Also, make sure your hoop doesn't have any gaps in it. This will cause buckling or warping in your fabric. So you can use pretty much any kind of fabric, even canvas, whatever you can get a needle through. I really like this cloth from Michaels. I find it really flexible to work with and soft. For the moss that I do, it's on this really thin fabric with a paper stabilizer on the back. I find felt really good for making patches, although it can be a bit annoying because any little fluff or dirt can get stuck to it, but it's really great because the edges don't fray. I still feel like I have so much to learn about choosing fabric, so I'll make a separate video on this later. If you're just starting to embroider, I would highly suggest getting the variety pack of embroidery needles from Michaels or wherever you get your craft supplies. This way you can test out the different lengths of the needles and the opening at the top, which is called the eye. And be sure to replace your needles when they don't feel as sharp anymore. Also, you'll want a little container to keep them safe. I absolutely love using the DMC threads or floss. They just have such a wide variety of colors to choose from and so many different styles of floss, like this pearl cotton one, which is a twisted textured one. They even have floss that's a slow gradient of color changing as you use it, and even a glow-in-the-dark one. I have tried using cheaper ones, but they're just not as good. They're not as shiny or soft, so they get tangled really easily. So here are my fabric scissors and my little stork embroidery scissors. These fabric scissors are great. They've lasted so long and they're still very sharp. I know these scissors are super cute, but they're actually very helpful. They're so tiny so they can get into tight corners and trim the thread really close to the edge. Make sure to only use these scissors with textile materials. If you use them with other materials, they could be damaged over time. There's a couple of different options for drawing your pattern onto your fabric. You can use pencil, but it's pretty hard to erase off. My favorite is this erasable marker. It will fade on its own over time, but if you want to erase the marks you made right away, you can. Whenever I'm working with a fabric that's a darker color, I'll use my dressmaker's pencil. It's okay, it just doesn't have a very sharp point and it's hard to rub off. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. Guidebooks are really helpful, especially if you're just starting out and you're teaching yourself. I really love the physical copy ones, but there are also tons of tutorials online. It's great how much information is out there to be shared with everyone. But not least, for the essential tools, you're gonna want some snacks. Embroidery is very time consuming. Granola bars are great because they keep your hands very clean. So now I'm gonna go over the tools that aren't necessary but could be helpful. If you're planning a very precise project, then you might want a measuring tape or a ruler to maintain your accuracy. This one is pretty self-explanatory. If you're nervous around sharp objects, then you might want to get a thimble to protect your fingers. These cards can be helpful to save your leftover floss. You just tuck it in the top and wrap it around, and then tuck it in the top again. The pack I got from Michaels came with this ring, which is great to stay organized and keep them all together. Glue can be helpful when fixing some problems or finishing off the back of your hoop. I actually love using glue on the edges of my fabric when I'm embroidering around the edge. It's a lot easier to do than when the edges are all frayed. If you're working on a large-scale embroidery piece, clips might be helpful to gather up the extra fabric you're not working on at the time and keep it out of the way. If you find it really frustrating to thread your needle, this tool will be great for you. You just pop your needle over the metal piece, hold it down while you put your floss through, and then you bring your needle up, and voila, you got it. Tweezers are really great for just getting into those tiny little places that your fingers just can't reach. You want to make sure you're working with really good lighting. Find what works best for you, but you just want to make sure that you're not tiring your eyes out with really low lighting. Having a little bag or a basket is really helpful to stay organized. I tend to keep everything in my bigger one and use that for when I'm going away somewhere for the weekend or longer trips, and use my smaller bags for small trips like the subway. A hoop stand is really helpful for your posture when embroidering. It's so easy to just become hunched over your work, like a little goblin, but it ends up really hurting your neck and your back. With this stand, you can adjust it so that the work meets you at your comfortable position. Irons are really great for getting out any wrinkles and giving your piece a finished look. You might want to use a magnifying glass for very detailed work. Thread conditioner can help your thread from tangling. Fabric stiffener to keep your fabric from buckling. Last but not least, all of the info in this video will be up on my blog at poppysmix.com in case you want a more in-depth reading of what we went through today, and you can stay updated with the new series if you subscribe to my YouTube, hit that bell, Facebook, Instagram. I don't do Twitter, sorry. But I just wanted to give you guys a huge thank you, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.